Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite you to look at relationships like a cup of coffee. It's 2016, and with so much information at our fingertips today, and technology and internet is within our reach, I couldn't help but wonder, how is it possible that with such wealth and knowledge that our relationships are still failing today? How is it possible that with this wealth and abundance of knowledge that divorce rates are increasing in this country and beyond? As a professional in my field, in order for me to solve such a problem, I must ask an even more empowering question. So I asked, what are the core reasons that create and contribute to creating divorce rates as well as with failed relations? In my 6 years of experience and over 700 hours of coaching, redesigning relationships, I've made 2 profound discoveries that changed my perspective around relationships forever. The first discovery was that our understanding of relationships is outdated and does not apply to our world today. The second discovery is that because of this understanding, couples today in marriages are making crucial mistakes that are detrimental to their relationship. So I'm sure you're wondering, what are those mistakes? The first mistake is that those couples have no clue who they are on an individual and collective level in their relationship. They have no clear sense of identity. What does this mean? It means that they have not been able to answer the following questions. Who am I as a man or a woman in a relationship? What do I want in a relationship? What are my values? And where is this relationship going, or where am I going in life? When you have 2 people practicing this level of lack of clarity, you get a couple living in uncertainty. Which brings us to our next mistake. The next mistake they are practicing over and over again is that when couples are living in uncertainty, they are immediately living in fear. See, it's our natural tendency, and it has been proven in psychology, that when we live in so much fear, the easiest thing for us to do is to live our past in the relationship. It's to go back in time in our memories and live and access our hurt and reference points so that we can prove something to ourselves. We think it's comfortable, but it's not. Because of that, I have one word to describe it. It's called baggage. Now, surprise, surprise, ladies and gentlemen, as much as we have this topic, it's a hot topic in relationships, baggage. All of us have baggage. The difference, however, is that some couples walk in with this big bag of problems and issues from the past, and others just walk in with a suitcase into a relationship. What I've noticed, however, unfortunately, is that those couples come in with their whole backyard to the relationship. With so much overwhelm, with so much lack of clarity and fear, it brings us to our third mistake. When you live in so much fear and lack of clarity, you stop communicating. You stop talking to one another. You stop expressing. That's why those couples take way too long to clear the air between one another. See, I believe that in a relationship, in order for you to thrive and succeed, you have to create an open space of intimacy and connection and growth and safety. But when you don't practice that kind of conversation every single day, you know how the story ends. Which brings me to our fourth mistake. The fourth mistake is that those couples have a deep, silent fear of intimacy. What is intimacy, ladies and gentlemen? Intimacy is the ability for us to look at ourselves and tell ourselves, I love you, I appreciate you, and explore our world, and then step into that other person's world and do the same, and then allow them to do the same for us. But what creates intimacy in a relationship? What creates intimacy is the ability for us to be kings and queens in our relationships, which means we have 2 energies inside of us, the masculine and the feminine. All of us, whether you're a male or a female, we have masculine and feminine in us. Masculine, the clear, directive, assertive kind of energy, and the feminine, the nurturing, the collaborative, flowing kind of energy. All of us have them. Today, in order to have a queen who is empathic and open, has a mission for his kingdom, we must have a queen. The kind of queen who is able to provide her wisdom for her king so that both of them can co-lead that relationship, that kingdom properly. But today, what do we find in marriages? At best, we get a prince and a princess living a love story. It's okay to laugh, because this is a reality. So I'm sure you're wondering, now that we know the problem, what is the solution? What do we do? I have a solution. I would invite you to close your eyes. And we've done this a lot today. But it's great to look inside. So I invite you to look inside. Close your eyes. And go back in time. Maybe 20 to 30 years ago, when things were a lot simpler. The internet was not available to us. Things were calmer between people. There were no distractions. We loved one another. Go down one of your neighborhoods back in time and witness how people used to connect with one another. Communities were smaller. People allowed themselves to connect and converse. Neighbors knew one another. There was a model of relationship that was unique to that time. Is that if I gave something to you, I knew that you would give something to me. Promises were kept. Trust was there. Please open your eyes. We're still in 2016. The world has changed. There are distractions. We are living in the world of disruption. The internet takes our attention away all the time. So what do we do? This is the model that they applied back then. So if we apply it to husbands and wives today, because it's directly focused at the person, you get blame, you get guilt, you get disrespect. If one of them stops doing something, the other either overcompensates or stops doing something at all, or calls it quits. What do we do? I would invite you again to close your eyes. And this time, slow things down a whole lot more. And imagine you and your partner, your husband or wife, or even future desired partner, are both of you holding a cup of coffee that has two handles. That cup, that coffee was created by both of you. You invested in those ingredients and you added them into the cup. Now take a sip of that cup. Smell the coffee. Allow yourself to be mesmerized by the experience of the coffee. What is the texture like? What is the experience of drinking that coffee like? Now pay attention to the ingredients that you added into that coffee, you individually, and how it affected the taste. Please open your eyes. Let's all agree on something. That whatever your experience was, drinking that coffee awakened your senses. Ladies and gentlemen, the cup of coffee is the relationship. The cup of coffee is a separate entity on its own. Why? Because of this world that we're in right now, individuality, which means me understanding myself and working on myself, has been primed. It has been primed so much that people are focusing on themselves. But in order for us to focus on ourselves and connect with someone, we need something extra to believe in. A common goal, a common experience. But we can't go back in time and say, this is the experience we were going to work on. And so, I invite you to look at this and the ingredients that both of people add in. This takes the blame away from people. When I looked into my work and the amount of people who actually are already practicing this, I've discovered that they are adding 4 different ingredients to create that successful relationship. 4 base ones, like creating any cup of coffee. The first ingredient those couples are adding is deep curiosity. The ability for us to remain completely curious and inquisitive about another person. Why do we need deep curiosity? This is biochemical, ladies and gentlemen. We have a hormone inside of us that's called dopamine. And it is the hormone of novelty, renewable things in our bodies and experiences. But most of us today, what are we doing? We're getting it from our phones, from social media. We're scrolling through our Facebook timelines thinking we're going to get something new. But at the end of the day, we don't get what we really, really want. People think that they're connecting on a deeper level with others by going through Facebook and other social media platforms. But in reality, we're fooling ourselves. We think that we are connecting, but not really, because there's another person that's sitting right here, craving our attention, desiring that kind of love and affection and curiosity. I've gone out and I've seen people who are going out on dates and they're on their phones. Where is the curiosity? Where is the level of affection and depth that we can create between one another? The second ingredient that they add is their ability to look at a relationship like an adventure. See, I'm a man who believes in meaning. If you tell yourself today that you're a person who says, life happens to me. My God, why does life happen to me? You get a certain set of experience and behavior. But when you tell yourself, life happens for me, you get another completely different experience. It's the same like a relationship. If you tell yourself, my God, my relationship is boring, it's a lot of work, my partner does not understand me, why did I get myself into this? What experience are you going to get? But if you tell yourself, it is an adventure. Our relationship is an adventure. We're getting to know things every day. My God, he took the trash out today. Oh, I didn't know he could do that. That level of zest and renewable energy brings a new definition to relationships. That level of awakening, like a cup of coffee, brings an experience like never before. The third ingredient that they add is their ability to have common activities. See, a lot of us today sit most of the time on our chairs, and that reduces our energy level, our vibration to the world. In order for us to go out there and do something with the people that we love, we have to be able to think differently about our movements. We have to create something, a bonding, and we need a hormone for that called oxytocin, the love hormone. But on top of that, you need something else. You need creativity to allow that relationship to grow and to prosper and to do so much more. And the way we can access that level of creativity is by doing something with our body and by doing it with somebody else. By going out, not what we were thinking. That's the beauty, that's the zest of a relationship. That's the experience we get when we drink a cup of coffee. The fourth ingredient, and the most visible one today that we find people don't practice openly, is acceptance. Acceptance. Acceptance is the ability for me to tell you, thank you. I appreciate you for who you are. It's that moment when I tell you, I love you. Or that moment when I say, I do. Or that moment when I get on my knees and say, will you marry me? But that happens at the beginning of the relationship only. Why? It's because a lot of people today, a lot of couples spend way too much time thinking and architecting the person. We try to draw the person up to our needs. We try to change the person up to the way we want. We manipulate the environment in a way that we want that person to be exactly how we wanted them to be from the moment we got into a relationship with them. But what happens after the honeymoon phase? Dude, that girl is nothing like what I expected her to be. What a letdown. Instead of spending so much time architecting and designing the person, architect the relationship. That cup of coffee, spend time on this. Get conscious and very clear and intentional on what we add inside of this. Get very curious. What did I add today? Take ownership, clear ownership and leadership of what ingredients you add in. Because whatever you add in affects the taste dramatically. And when we take that ownership, we can't blame that person. We can't look at them and say, you didn't love me. Get curious. What did I add in that relationship that created this? Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I call a love action plan. Couples today don't have a love action plan at all. When you have that love action plan, you bring that awakening to life. You bring that zest and excitement to a relationship. Much like a story I'm going to share with you right now. The time in 2013 when I visited Barcelona. Who here has been to Barcelona? It was a beautiful city. Beautiful. It's so filled with creativity and youth. And a different experience and vibe. I was walking down the city center with my friends and I found a beautiful shop that was having its new grand opening. A tiny, intimate shop, but it was distinct in design. It was a photography and art shop, vintage style. The difference, however, is that this shop was filled with mostly glass windows and doors. Very few walls. So if you were walking from the outside, you could see what's happening in the inside. So me and my friends walked in out of curiosity. And then after walking in, we discovered, wow, there's a lot of people, the energy is high, jazz music is playing, everybody's networking. We had some nibbles. And then at some point, the organizers came in and they said, respectfully, we'd like to ask you to stand outside. There's a performer walking in right now. Wow, a performer. It gets better. We stood outside in curiosity like children. What's about to happen? In no time, a flamenco dancer walked in with 4 men behind her with buckets of paint. Different colors, but 12 colors. She had 4 paint brushes and a cassette player. Very vintage. She stood in there, looked at us, gazed at us, acknowledged that we were present with her. She wore her paint brushes. She dipped them into the color. And what happened next is exactly what you're thinking about. She played the music, she clapped, she tapped her fingers and feet. She dipped her fingers and feet into the color and she started to splash all over the place. Red, blue, green, yellow, white, orange, purple, black, pink, everything. We stood there and we were in awe and love and out of excitement. We couldn't understand, but it was amazing. We were awestruck by that amazing performance. And I went to a very quiet place in my mind and heart and I said, my goodness, isn't this what a relationship is like? That level of passion, uncertainty, flow, direction, color. And then I asked myself, hang on a second, isn't this what a cup of coffee does to us? It's almost like having a cup of coffee brings awakening, freshness, creativity to the relationship. When you drink that cup, a new experience comes to life. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not here to tell you to become lovers, better lovers in a relationship. I'm here to help you find a way so that you can become influencers of love. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, wake up your hearts. Thank you.